Hello there and a very good evening to you. Welcome to TV47 News Tonight. Quite a lot lined up for you on this 13th day of April 2023. To the headlines tonight. Tonight, Azimio Brigade announces the resumption of weekly protests.
Mazungumzo yaendelee na maandamano sambamba.
As its bipartisan talks team blames their Kenya Kwanza counterparts for stalling the truce talks.
We reiterate our readiness and commitment to the process, but decry the delay exhibited by our Kenya Kwanza counterparts.
Also tonight, boarding mistress of Mukumu Girls High School succumbs while receiving treatment after the bacterial infection outbreak.
She was complaining of fever, and I think she was taken to hospital by her colleagues in the school.
This as over 80 other learners were rushed to hospital in Narok and Tharaka Nithi County as the outbreak now spreads. Plus, over 4.4 million Kenyans in over 23 counties remain in drought stress, with the NDMA saying the ongoing rains are not enough. Catherine Similo is on the sign language interpretation in News Relay. Stanley Nyeringita, welcome to the bulletin. You can always talk to us on our social media platforms below your screens. Now, tonight, Azimio Coalition leader Raila Odinga has said the opposition will resume street protests soon, saying the opposition will not agree to be a rubber stamp of the executive in the bipartisan talks. Odinga, while addressing a town hall meeting at the historic Ufungamano Hall, said the protests will run parallel to the talks in what he described as signs of intransigence from Kenya Kwanza. Pole Kamau begins our bulletin tonight.
Frustrated by Kenya Kwanza's failure to compromise on the bipartisan talks agenda, the opposition has fired a warning shot at President William Ruto, telling him to brace for a return of mass action.
400 votes.
In a multi-sectoral forum with the civil society, the first town hall meeting of its kind at Ufungamano House, the historic venue of the Second Liberation, Odinga said the government has failed to compromise, saying the opposition will not be a rubber stamp of the executive and has been left with no option but to resume demos.
Mazungumzo yaendelee na maandamano sambamba. Dawa ya moto ni dawa ya moto ni. Kwa hivyo sisi tutaendelea. Sitaendelea. Tunangoja Ramadhani ishi.
The opposition says the hardline stance is due to Kenya Kwanza's insistence to have the reconstitution of IEBC as the only agenda for the bipartisan talks, while failing to compromise on the opposition's four main issues: immediate action on lowering the cost of living, opening IEBC servers, restructuring IEBC, and the restatement of the four commissioners, and an end to poaching of MPs.
Already, we are seeing signs of intransigence from the Kenya Kwanza, which is trying to determine for us what to take to the discussion table. We are not going into this dialogue for deals in smoke-filled rooms. We are going into this to secure and safeguard fundamental life and death gains for the people and the country.
If the talks do take off, a 13-point resolution read by Kenya National Civil Society Centre Director Suba Churchill, Azimio has further demanded that the talks be inclusive and held on a neutral ground, and no party should have veto powers on the issues, with Odinga saying the talks have to extend beyond the confines of the law for flexibility purposes. Azimio now wants any decision arrived at to be by consensus. Azimio is expected to hold a public rally this Sunday in Kamukunji.
Lakini saba ni lazima itafunguliwa. Kama hautafungua, Wakenya watafungua kwa nguvu zao zile wamepatiwa na katiba.
Kenya Kwanza, let me be respectful to them today, are not serious about this dialogue. They clearly are not. And I think out of this consultative forum, the resolutions that will come out need to call them out.
In short, nothing has changed in the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza camps. Hardline positions remain, questioning the commitment of the two sides to the dialogue process. Apul Kamau, TV47 at Ufungamano House in Nairobi.
And still on matters politics, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party has added more members to that team to face it off with Ruto's representatives in the bipartisan talks. The Raila Odinga-led political outfit accused Kenya Kwanza of trivializing the talks by nominating some of the members to that team.
Tonight, the tug of war over which side is stalling the Raila-Ruto truce talks intensifies, with the Azimio side making clear indications that it prefers out-of-parliament talks. Today, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition has beefed up its bipartisan dialogue process team, bringing on board members who are not elected MPs. Lawyer Paul Mwangi will now be the head secretary of the panel, while Jeremiah Kioni and Makau Mutua will be their counsels.
There is no way you can have any process that is strictly parliamentary. It can end up in parliament ultimately, but it cannot be strictly parliamentary. In any event, we have just said that the process was initiated by our principles. Our own principle is not in parliament. So to say it's a strictly parliamentary process is defeatist, because it would suggest that it was initiated inside of parliament, and yet it wasn't.